After 8 long years, the curtain of separation is about to be drawn, the military scene closed forever. You have been valiant soldiers. You have met every hardship, even the extremes of hunger and nakedness, with extraordinary patience and fortitude. The unbiased voice of the free citizens of the United States has promised you a just reward. The money due to you brave men must inevitably be paid. You are going forth to mingle with the great body of the community, some of you to the pursuits of commerce, some to the cultivation of the soil, others to the fisheries, and some of you, actuated by the spirit of adventure, will push on to the vast, unknown regions of the West. It is my earnest opinion that upon your patriotic support of the Union and the federal government, our future existence as a nation depends. And so, your general offers his prayer to the God of armies that ample justice be done to you all, you who have secured great blessings for others, and bid you all an affectionate, a long farewell. Tell Colonel Hamilton I should like to see him.
General.
Oh, there you are. Well, I've parted with the men.
Yes, I heard you.
It was a hard job saying goodbye. But not as hard as it will be to part with you, Alexander. No one will ever know what you've meant to me in this campaign. You've given me a kind of support, not only as a soldier, but your advice. It's hard to put these things into words. Thank heaven the war is over.
Over.
Well, we've just signed a treaty of peace. Don't tell me there's another fight ahead.
You know that for you and for me, the struggle is only just beginning.
For you, perhaps. But my work is finished.
While the war was on, the 13 states were held together by a common cause. But now, the war is over. And we shall have 13 jealous states ready to fly at one another's throats.
It's true.
Soldiers have to be paid. You just promised them that many. Who will pay them? Each state will try to shift the responsibility onto the other. America will be without credit and without honor among nations unless it has a great leader who has gained the country's confidence. General Washington, there is only one man for the post.
You always were the darndest devil for facing facts, Alexander. Won't you let me die in peace?
General, I won't let you die at all. We are both tired of fighting, but we can neither of us give up until this country has paid its debts at home and abroad.
What good did the war do us? Independence, liberty. Things are worse than ever.
Where's the army pay? This is all I got. The state of South Carolina promises to pay Harvey Taylor the sum of $100. That's 8 years ago and they ain't paid yet.
Here's the same. Alexander Hamilton has been made Secretary of the Treasury, and he don't do a darn thing.
He did one darn good thing. You had a job in the Treasury, and he gave you the sack for dishonesty.
Now, I can explain that.
Why don't Hamilton see that these certificates are paid?
Because the senators are always fighting against one another. Alexander Hamilton and George Washington are the only two men with brains in the country.
Oh, what about Jefferson?
And Monroe and Senator Roberts.
There'll be another bloody revolution in this country before long, and it won't be against a foreign power.
Don't let's lose our tempers. Mr. Hamilton has no doubt called this meeting for a further debate upon his assumption bill.
That bill is an outrage. Let every state pay its own debts. Why should North Carolina pay the debts of Connecticut?
We've always blocked that bill, and we'll continue to block it to the last ditch.
Yes, Hamilton's efforts are dangerous because they're always directed toward a centralization of the government.
And that would lead to monarchy, the very thing we fought to get away.
Gentlemen, what I want...
We know what you want. Your game is to keep on strengthening the federal government until the states shall eventually have no rights at all.
My game is to establish the credit of this country so that it can trade with other nations. And it is a game which requires at least 4 players.
You know, Mr. Secretary of the Treasury, I'm opposed to any attempt at centralization of power. And for the same reason, I'm opposed to your scheme for the establishment of a national bank.
National bank. Rubbish. A wild idea. And besides, it is not constitutional.
Well, it's all part of my policy.
What is your policy?
I can tell you in one word, Senator Roberts, honesty. How are we going to pay our debts without the central government? This country has no credit abroad. It's the laughingstock of other nations. Its paper isn't worth 5 cents in the dollar. Why? Because as a nation, we're not to be trusted. We haven't paid the merchants who gave us credit during the war. We haven't paid our soldiers who fought for our liberty.
So we're not going to pick the pockets of one state to pay the debts of another.
Each state fought for the common good. Every man must be paid. Gentlemen, we are building a nation. Let us build strongly. Let us build on the foundation of honor.
You plead for the honor of the nation. I plead for the rights of the individual.
You realize the rights of the people are at stake?
The only safety for any people is in a government that can pay the nation's debts.
You mean by passing your assumption bill?
Yes, gentlemen. That was my object in calling you together today.
With your permission, then, Mr. Secretary of the Treasury, I will withdraw.
And I.
I am bound to confess that I consider your attempt to force this bill nothing more than a trick to give greater power to the central body and to ruthlessly crush the freedom of the state.
You know, Hamilton, there are some things about this bill of yours that ain't so bad.
Coming from you, Senator Roberts, I consider that a compliment.
I don't know. I might be persuaded to change my vote. You'd like my vote, wouldn't you, Colonel?
I should indeed. And I should like your influence with your party.
You know, I can swing enough votes to put your bill through. And I'll do it. On one condition. The President always asks your advice. If you'll say that Tim Roberts is the right man for Minister to France, Tim Roberts will put through your bill for you.
Minister of France?
Oh, I see. You don't think I'm good enough.
Well, I don't think you're fitted for it.
Why not?
With the revolution going on over there, the task of our minister is probably the most delicate...
Oh, I ain't delicate enough. What else?
You're not making it easy for me.
I want your reasons.
I prefer not to give them.
What have you got against me? Speak up.
Everything. I know your record during the war. Dishonest business. You compel me to speak. The United States Minister to France must be a man of unblemished reputation.
All right, Mr. Hamilton. You're a fighter, ain't you? Well, so am I. From now on, you are fighting me. Get your bill through if you can. Go on.
Here's Senator Roberts. He's a friend of the people.
Fellow citizens, you are right. I am your friend. And I'm going to do everything in my power to help you. I've just been talking to our Secretary of the Treasury. I didn't get much satisfaction out of him.
Hamilton is an aristocrat.
What made you do that?
Senator Roberts said you wouldn't help us.
He told her.